Recording in progress. Okay, Namo Om Vishnaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachaline Devasisha Sunya Vahari Pushtatara Sataline Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, let's share with you the Brhat Bhagavatamrta. Here we go. I prepared it beforehand to save time. Here we are. Now, we finished on text 60 last week, but we'll just go back a couple of verses because there's an interesting questioning from Uddhava. He's becoming curious about Gopakama. So let's read that. So 55, I'll just read the translations. Lord's names, his pastimes, and his favorite abodes, and everything that he has to do, and everything that has to do with his service can assume various forms. And you should know that just as all these are eternally real, each of them is simultaneously one and many. Okay, that needs some explaining, but we won't explain it. It would take too much time. All right. What amazes me is that you still appear like this. This is the point we want to get to here. Playfully showing your same character as before. And even here, you always seem discontent and distressed at heart. This is most astonishing to me. Okay, so this is Narada Muni speaking, actually. Mm-hmm. He thinks that Gopakama is simply playing a game and pretending to be ignorant, even though he knows the ultimate reality. So 57. Sri Gopakama said, taking hold of Narada's feet, I bowed down and humbly told him, my lord, you know everything about this. Then Narada smiled and spoke, looking at Uddhava's face. Okay, so Narada and Uddhava there with Gopakama. Sri Narada said, just see, Uddhava, this cowherd boy's son, born at Govardhan, is seeking something unachievable for persons like you and me. Remember, we left off on this, describing how fortunate we are to be offered the gift that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving. Yeah, because even Narada and Uddhava is not available. Greatly agitated, he wanders here and there, never anywhere transcending the painful distress that is fixed in his heart. And then one more, then we can start reading together. Indeed, Uddhava, you were always anxious to favor the residents of Brhat. Then why not spend a moment to enlighten this boy who is present before you? Okay, so let's pick it up from here then. 61. Okay, so all clear somewhat on the context where we left off last week. So any volunteers to read a few verses?
I can
read. Okay, let's let Mother Raj Kishore go. She said first, and then you can do next, okay? Okay, Raj Kishore, Mother, you can go with text 61.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Text 61. The abode of Golok is very far away, and happiness relished there is inaccessible to us. And even the means to achieve that abode is so rarely obtained that we can only pray for it. Commentary. Although time and space do not exist in the spiritual realm, Golok is still considered far away in the sense that the common residents of Vaikuntha cannot approach it, nor can they enjoy the pleasure of seeing Sri Nandanandan and taking part in his childhood play. Even the intimate companions of Lord Narayan, worship the good fortune of the devotees in Golok, a place they can approach only in prayer.
Right. So they know it exists, but it's beyond their grasp. They do not have the right mood or qualifications. That's interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Text
Okay,
62.
62, yeah.
Sriman Uddhav said he was born in Rajbhumi and there he has engaged as a cowherd and he is firmly established in the worship of Lord Gopal. He is surely a much greater soul than you and I. Narad has just told Uddhav that Sri Golok is a place that he and Uddhav can hardly approach. This statement somewhat disturbed Uddhav because he disliked the implication that he himself was better than everyone else in Vaikuntha. Still, he wanted to please Narad by enlightening Gopkumar as requested. So he first gave his opinion that Gopkumar was the most spiritually advanced person present, not himself or even Narad. After all, Gopkumar was a native of Govardhan, a lifelong tender of the cows in the holy dham, and a worshipper of Sri Madan Gopal and his 10-syllable mantra. Moreover, wherever Gopkumar went, he remained dissatisfied because he couldn't find his worshipable Lord. Text 63. Narad was delighted to hear this. He embraced Uddhava and enthusiastically told him, please hurry and instruct him so that he may fulfill his desires. Text 64. Uddhav replied, O great sage, since I am a Kshatriya by birth, in your presence I have no right to instruct him. Commentary. Uddhav considers himself second class by birth and character. Nonetheless, he might be reminded that Kshatriyas are also allowed to teach. According to the Dharma Shastras, Kshatriya may engage in the same duties prescribed for the Brahmanas, except for receiving charity. This is confirmed in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. For a Brahmana, there are 6 occupational duties. A Kshatriya should not accept charity, but he may perform the other 5. Though not denying this authoritative statement, Uddhav is still reluctant to speak in the presence of Narad, the Adi Guru, for the process of devotional service. Is that all right? A Kshatriya be able to do all the Brahmana's work?
Well, it must be. It's quoting Sastra. I can't remember reading this before, but it's there in Bhagavatam. Interesting.
Yeah, I read 7th canto. And
I guess, sorry?
I read 7th canto, but I haven't seen. Mind you, it's in a Sanskrit language, so I missed it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there in the 7th canto. We might not remember everything. But this will come after the pastime of Prahlad Maharaj, because the 7th canto finishes with the perfect social order, and it speaks about Vanashram there. I would imagine it was probably in an emergency.
Okay.
This will come into play, I would imagine. Sometimes things are adjusted according to emergencies. That's as much as I can make of it. So Kshatriyas will sometimes act as, do the rites of a Brahmin, teach, etc., and do the sacrificial rites for the samskaras, because they would have Dvija, because the Kshatriyas are initiated as into the Dvija, into the Brahmin thread,
Yeah.
So that would then give them the authority to act in case of need as a Brahmana. And the other way around as well, I guess that's more obvious. Sometimes a Brahmana, in case of need and an emergency, will act as a Kshatriya. Especially like Dronacharya, he's a Brahmin, but he's beatific because Brahmins generally they would have their specific school, or they would have their specific thing that they was learned in. Some Brahmins would be learned in many things, but most would be learned in one aspect more than others. So Dronacharya was very learned in the military arts. So that's what he taught. But he also fought as a Kshatriya as well. Yeah, so yeah. Okay, so we learn something every day. Hare Krishna.
Can I ask a question here? Even Parshuram is a Brahmin, but his mood was like a Kshatriya.
Yeah, free Kshatriya. Yeah, he was. He's a little bit different, I might say, because he's a Shakti Avesh. He's an incarnation of the Lord himself. And there's a whole story, isn't there, about his appearance in the family, and it's quite intriguing.
Yeah.
I can't remember the details now, but yeah, there's another example. He's a Brahmin engaged in the ghastly affairs of a Kshatriya, of killing Kshatriyas, as we know, 21 times. So yeah, so you're going to see this, yeah. That was your main point, Mother Sarchari, was just bringing that out, yeah?
Gone.
You're gone.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, so, yeah.
Shall I continue?
Yeah, why not? Let's continue.
Text 65. Narad laughed very loudly and said to Uddhava, even here in Vaikuntha, you can't stop thinking yourself a Kshatriya.
Mm.
Commentary. In the material world, particularly within Bharatvarsha, the distinctions of caste and occupation are prevalent. But in Vaikuntha, these distinctions should not be considered because everyone there has purely spiritual body. The position of Brahman, Kshatriya, and so on are designation of bodies that are limited and temporary. But Vaikuntha bodies are never subject to the limits imposed by material nature.
All right. Now, my Guru Maharaj quotes this in one book on Varna and Ashram. So, anyway, let's just read on. Let's see if it comes up in a couple of verses, the point I'm thinking of. You can continue up at 66.
Text 66. Smiling, Uddhav told him, what can I say? How can someone like me stop thinking himself a Kshatriya when even our Lord does not?
Yeah, this is the point. Maharaj is making the case, as many as a few senior devotees are, of the importance of Varna and Ashram. So he gives this as a evidence that yes, even in Vaikuntha, even in the spiritual realm where everyone is transcendental to any material designations, still it's set up according to Varna and Ashram. The social system is set up. And here, what can I say? How can someone like me stop thinking himself a Kshatriya when even the Lord does not? So Krishna acts in Dwarka as a Kshatriya, and in Braj, he acts as a Vaishya. Yeah, so therefore, that's an evidence that it is needed in the material realm for the smooth running of society. So even Krishna, yeah, so even in the spiritual realm where everyone is transcendental, they all play their specific role in a Varnashram setting. Yeah, so what to speak of us? All right.
Text 67.
67,
Here
yeah.
in Vaikuntha, the Lord maintains the religious principles of civilized people just as he does on earth. He behaves like a proper family man, conquers his enemies, shows respect to elders and brahmanas, and so on. In Dwarka, both on earth and in Vaikuntha, Sri Krishna Dev thinks and acts like a proper householder and Kshatriya, He dutifully does everything expected of a responsible householder, goes forth with relish into the battle to subdue opposing kings, and sincerely honors the Brahmanas and his spiritual masters and his elders like Balaram. The word Adi and so on implies other daily duties he performs as Gruhastha Kshatriya, such as rising during the early hours of the Brahma Muhurta. Text 68. These words filled Narad's mind with pleasure, and he laughed, jumped up and down, and shouted in joy. Astonished, he spoke as follows. Sri Narad said, indeed, just see the amazing charm and glory of the personality of Godhead's pastimes, and see in those pastimes how seriously committed his devotees are to serving him and him alone. Oh, how very curious that this Lord plays in the highest abode above Vaikuntha, the same way as in the world of mortals, just to satisfy his dear devotees. Text 71. Even experienced devotees like me are bewildered to see such pastimes, which makes us wonder whether we are in the Dwarka of Vaikuntha or Dwarka of the material world. Text 72. It is quite fitting that you devotees care only for prema bhakti, pure loving devotional service to the Lord's lotus feet. Such prema bhakti for the Lord, who is very affectionate to his devotees, fulfills all his ambitions and is alone their final goal. If Krishna deals virtually the same way with his devotees in both spiritual and material worlds, what is special then about Vaikuntha? Narad's answer is that in quality of the relationships between the Lord and his devotee, there is no practical difference between the material and spiritual worlds. In either realm, the Lord and his devotees achieve the fulfillment of all their desires. So whatever they do is just apt for the time and place in which they happen to be. For devotees, nothing is as important as the opportunity to always serve his lotus feet in pure love. And likewise, for the personality of Godhead, nothing is as important as satisfying his devotees. Since nouns in Sanskrit may be either singular, dual, or plural, and since the word bhavatam, by you, is plural, here the word indicates that Narad is speaking not only to Uddhav and Gopkumar, but to all the fully devoted servants of the Lord. Text 73. You have no great interest in acting as residents of Vaikuntha or sojourners in the material world, and he has no great interest in showing his opulence or getting involved in mundane relationships. Because the Supreme Lord and his pure devotees are interested only in pleasing one another, it makes little difference to them where they happen to be. The devotees may be in Vaikuntha, endowed with Satchidananda spiritual bodies and corresponding powers and comforts to enjoy, or they may be Gruhastha or whatever in the material world with the bodies made of physical elements and may worship the Lord in a form of his that also seems material. But in any case, the Lord and his devotees are never distracted from their pure loving exchanges of rasa, not even when the Lord fully expands his opulence or his complete self-satisfaction, or seems to establish worldly affinities by becoming a father, a son, or some other relative of his devotees. Since the devotees are exclusively devoted to the Lord, their hearts are satisfied simply by relishing his pastimes and transcendental qualities. Similarly, the Lord is interested only in making his devotees happy. These ambitions of the Lord and his devotees can be fulfilled equally well in the Vaikuntha or in the material world. So for them, there is no substantial difference between the two realms.
Okay. So let's just, yeah, we all kind of understand what's being explained here. But there is no substantial difference within Bhoma Vrindavan or Dwarka in the material world and Dwarka in the spiritual world. But there is some differences. Can anyone say what those differences are? Say, let's begin with Bhoma Vrindavan.
Well, when we see Bhagavatamrta, Yamuna is, quite polluted. There's plenty of dirt and everything. I'm sure it won't be in the Golok Vrindavan.
Yeah, I was thinking about, yeah, I mean, there's definitely quite a lot of differences, at least from our condition perspective when we go to Vrindavan. But I was thinking more even in Krishna's time. I was thinking in Krishna's time when he manifested on earth.
Well, there were demons.
Demons, yeah.
And Kansa.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we got it. Yeah, we know this. Yeah. So there were demons. There was Krishna's Janma as well. Krishna's appearance. Yeah. And he was attempted to be killed by the henchmen of Kamsa, Putana, etc. So that happens here in Bhoma, Vrindavan. But other than that, for all intents and purposes, the actual loving relationship with Krishna is the same. And we might even say that the relationship in Bhoma, because of the different demons that come, it adds it heightens a certain rasa of wonder and shock. Yeah, when Mother Yasoda hears about these demons that appear in Vrindavan and Krishna kills them. So now in Vrindavan, per se, in Goloka, what's the one? The Gokul is Bhoma and Goloka is the spiritual realm, if I've got that right. Yeah, so what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought.
It's Golok Vrindavan and Bhoma Vrindavan, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, we got Goloka and Bhoma. Yeah, sorry, and in Goloka there is rumors of demons. It's rumored. So there's the rasa of I don't know if you call it the rasa of surprise or the rasa of demons being present, but they play a different role there. Perhaps I better read more about it. My Guru Maharaj mentions quite a lot on this subject in the beginning of his new Raj Mahima, which I haven't read for some time. But anyway, let's just take it simply here. Yeah, that there are no substantial differences. Yeah. Okay. Mother of Bangalatika, you like to read on from text 74?
Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
74. You always live in utter humility, which must be nourishes devotion, pure love, and the Lord's pastimes of seeing absorbed in earthly pleasure.
Your voice is going through the tube a bit, Mother Lavanga. Difficult to hear you.
Yeah, it's the bandwidth. Sorry.
I guess you can hear us clearly. You can hear me. Okay. So, all right, I'll pick it up for a couple of verses, and if anyone else wants to read in the meantime, you can please raise your hand. Okay, so 74. You always live in utter humility, which most favorably nourishes devotion in pure love. Okay. So humility nourishes pure devotion. And the Lord's pastimes of seeming absorbed in worldly pleasure amply evoke such love. We better read the commentary. In Vaikuntha, the Lord and his devotees have purely spiritual bodies with which to enjoy transcendental reciprocations. But when Krishna descends to the material world, he seems to have the body of an ordinary human being, and that is even more conducive to the full blossoming of prema bhakti. Excuse me. In Vaikuntha, Lord Narayan expands unlimited opulence. But on earth, Krishna acts even more wonderfully by simply being the friend of his devotees and satisfying them in every possible way. Narada here congratulates the Lord's devotees for their humility, which more than ever to achieve success in devotional service. Okay, so a comparison is being made between Vaikuntha and Vrindavan in Boma Vrindavan or Boma Vaikuntha. We read it again. In Vaikuntha, Lord Narayan expands unlimited opulence. Okay. But on earth, Krishna, Krishna acts even more wonderfully by being a friend of his devotees. All right. So this relationship, which is very unique in Vrindavan, where he's not worshipped as the Lord of Vaikuntha. Yeah, he's simply playing with his devotees or with his friends who are his devotees, and they're unaware to a large extent of that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Yeah, so he's congratulate. Yeah. Okay. 75. Who can describe the greatness of the mature perfection of love of God, which makes the Supreme Lord act like an ordinary good friend? All right, so now we're going into, it seems like, discussion of Golok Vrindavan. Okay, so termed as mature perfection of love of God, yeah, which the Lord acts like an ordinary good friend, yeah, in Sakya Ras. Commentary. The Supreme Lord's appearance as a cowherd boy in Gokula is no false trick of Maya. It is the highest truth, manifest in response to the purest forms of absolute love. The mature stage of prema shared by Krishna and his devotees in Gokula is beyond the power of words to describe. It is so exalted that it impels the Lord to forget his supremacy and behave like an ordinary person to fulfill the desires of his devotees. All right, so this marvel cannot be an illusion created by Maya, because the Maya of the material world has no power to delude either Krishna or his devotees. All right, so this is, Krishna gets bewildered by his internal potency, yeah, where he thinks he is an ordinary person, mukta. So these two aspects of his internal potency, sarvagyan, where he knows everything, and also mukta, where it means he is ignorant, if you can dare use that word, of his actual position. And that's illustrated, as we know, in the pastime of Mother Yashoda, when she's chasing Krishna. Oh, and then Krishna's crying and tears are coming from his eyes, and he's experiencing fear because Mother Yashoda has a stick in her hand. Yeah. So he's not aware, by his internal potency, he isn't aware that he is God. Inconceivable, isn't it? It's wonderful. So it seems like the Lord's potencies act independently from Krishna to fulfill his lila and rasa and pastimes. So I guess Krishna must be God then. If he can do things like that. He can forget he's God. That must be God. Yeah. So yeah, he's not bewildered by the illusory potency. He's bewildered by the internal potency. And that's what we want to be bewildered by. At the moment, we are bewildered by his external potency. But we want to be bewildered by his internal potency. Where we think that, yeah, where we can relate to Radha and Krishna. You know? Not that they are the supreme, or Krishna, right? They are the supreme personalities of Godhead, but they're the sweetest, most beautiful, full of wonderful qualities, kind and affectionate. And that overwhelms the Lord's devotees in the Braj. It's their kindness, their sweetness, etc. Yeah. Okay, 76. Looks like a lengthy purple. Please, if anyone would like to read, you can put your hand up. Let me praise Krishna's mood as an ordinary friend, which does away with the respect and reverence of his devotees and expands their pure love for him. I might guess all the different rasas will be described from here on in. So perhaps, here being described Sakiras, yeah? After hearing what Narad had, because that's the relationship of Gopal, so it might focus on that. This is Gopal's relationship with Krishna and Sakiras. Commentary. After hearing what Narad has just said, some Vaishnavas may remain doubtful, thinking that love of God can develop to its full potential only by specific knowledge of the Supreme Lord's greatness, and not by conceptions of him in worldly relationships, such as that of a son. In fact, such devotees might argue that to view the personality of Godhead in such relationships is a serious error. After all, Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna's own father, Sri Vasudeva, prayed, "Therefore, O friend of the distressed, I now approach your lotus feet for shelter, the same lotus feet that dispel all fear of worldly existence, for those who have surrendered to them. Enough with hankering for sense enjoyment, which makes me identify with this mortal body and think of you, the Supreme, as my child." Now, perhaps it will be explained, and we are advised to approach Krishna through prayer as his servant. We shouldn't artificially try to relate to Krishna as the Gopas do or the Gopis do. Not at our stage. Yeah. And if we are blessed with such a realization, that will be, as we've discussed before, that will be a internal meditation. But our general, we worship Radha Krishna as Lakshmi Narayan. Okay. Yeah. So in this prayer, Vasudeva begs to be relieved of the delusion that compels him to imagine that God is his son. So he's praying to be relieved of what is the highest perfection. That's Vasudeva's mood compared to Nanda Maharaj. Now, Nanda Maharaj is not going to pray like this. He's not going to pray to be relieved from the delusion that compels him to imagine that God is his son.
But he's not an illusion, is it? He really thinks God is his son.
Yeah, and that's what's being mentioned. That is the highest perfection. So Vasudeva has been given as an example. So because someone might, what's been brought up here by Sanatan in his commentary is that some Sri Vaishnavas or some devotees of the Lord may not agree with this. And so therefore they are quoting Vasudeva himself. Let us not be in this illusion. Yeah. You are very happy, so why are you complaining? But he counters this idea by describing his pitiable confusion, in which out of greed for sense enjoyment, he thinks that he is the body and that the Supreme Lord is his son. Yeah, Mother Yasoda was temporarily overcome with this type of sentiment when she saw all the universes in Krishna's mouth. Yeah, I'm thinking, who am I? I'm thinking this is my son. And then Krishna manifests his sweetness again, and she forgot, and it melts, and this sense of awe and reverence melted away as she appreciated her beautiful, darling son. But for a few moments, she was affected by this sense of awe and reverence, and Krishna wouldn't have it in Mother Yasoda. Yeah. Vasudeva also tells Krishna in the Vishnu Purana that both Devaki and I are bewildered into loving you like our own child. That Devaki and I are bewildered into loving you like our own child is so absurd. Vasudeva feels he should be the butt of jokes for daring to consider that the Supreme Lord is his son. But here Narada explains that this exceptional attitude and behavior, even though they appear to follow the pattern of mundane human relationships, expand the limits of the most perfect love for Krishna. The key to understanding how this kind of devotional service works is to comprehend that it does away with the restrictions of respect, fear, and reverential faith towards the Supreme Lord. And as we know, that's what Krishna prefers, isn't it? Awe and reverence may be indispensable in Vaikuntha, means it has to be there. Yeah, it cannot be dispensed with. That's why, when we mentioned it a couple of times since we've read it, that's why Gopakumar, he had to be held back from running to try and embrace the Lord, etc. Because that cannot be happening in Vaikuntha. Yeah. This is, yeah. But they only inhibit the expression of prema between Krishna and his intimate devotees. This has already been discussed. Yep, we've discussed that in Brhat Bhagavatamrta, and will be made clear later on. Gopakumar understands from what Narada has said that the most beneficial and sensible thing to do is whatever will strengthen one's pure love for the personality of Godhead. Sri Vasudeva was lamenting because he had focused his attention on the idea that the Lord was his son, rather than simply act in affection for him like Sri Nanda, and Yasoda. Alternatively, Vasudeva, as an extremely humble Vaishnava, suffered from the self-dissatisfaction that naturally arises when bhakti becomes intense. He is, of course, a perfect devotee who has all the Lord's blessings. All right. Anyone can help us to understand this, what this means? Alternatively, Vasudeva, as an extremely humble Vaishnava, suffered from self-dissatisfaction that naturally arises when bhakti becomes intense. I don't know. Anyone can help us understand this?
I was thinking self-dissatisfaction. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can now. Yeah, much better.
Self-dissatisfaction is like, when Seshanag thinks, I wish I had 1,000 tongues to glorify Krishna.
Yeah, to chant the holy name. Yeah.
Maybe he feels dissatisfaction that he feels limited in his ability to glorify Krishna, or I mean, it's Nanda Maharaj. So,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
he might think, you know, he feels limited in understanding how wonderful his son is, or he's, I don't know.
No, I think that's right. What does everyone else think? I think Mother Lavanga's kind of explained it there. Yeah. Let's read it again now she's explained. Alternatively, Vasudev, as an extremely humble Vaishnava, suffered from self-dissatisfaction. Yeah, it's correct. Yeah, thank you. That naturally rises when bhakti becomes intense. Yeah, he is.
Can you quote Vyasadev's example here? Even he was dissatisfied after writing so many Puranas, Itihasas, and all that. Still, he wasn't satisfied until he wrote
Yeah,
Srimad
that's another good example. Yeah, Srila Vyasadeva himself felt self-dissatisfaction. Yeah, that explains it nicely as well. When bhakti becomes intense. Yeah, I mean.
Could it be, I'm just thinking, that's how Nanda Maharaj had so much affection, for so much mercy to be able to serve Krishna so nicely. And Vasudev, feeling so devotional, wasn't getting that opportunity, didn't get that opportunity. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think
this self-dissatisfaction.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Is there, the devotion is there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
No, I think did Vasudeva know of Krishna's relationship? I think he obviously did with Nanda Maharaj. He was conscious of it.
Yeah.
And I think he was, I think he glorifies Nanda Maharaj for having the opportunity to share Krishna's childhood.
Both his sons.
Both his sons to actually experience the childhood of Krishna and Balaram.
Yeah,
so in that sense.
He even when Nanda Maharaj used to come to pay tax, he said, just go quickly, go back, because he was thinking too much about the boys.
Yeah. So so self-dissatisfaction. Okay, so it sounds like you're doing better with your camera off, I think, so you can read if you like, if it's okay. I guess you can.
Yeah. So
77.
77. Okay. Sri Gopakumar continued. After saying this, the sage was overwhelmed by the weight of love, swept up by various ecstatic transformations. He remained silent a while. Then he spoke to me again, because he saw that I was troubled and keen for his instructions. Commentary. When Narada stopped, he felt ecstatic and showed symptoms like trembling, tears, and standing of bodily hairs. But soon he noticed that Gopakumar was ill at ease and waiting for further instructions.
Okay, sorry.
Next one.
Yeah.
Sri Narada said, Dear devotee of Lord Gopaladev, O son of a coward, far away from here lies the most exalted of all places, called Goloka. It is full of all splendor and beyond the borders of all other regions, including Vaikuntha. Commentary. Gopakumar is a Gopala Deva Priya in two ways. Lord Gopal is dear to him, and he is dear to Lord Gopal. This is because Gopakumar is Gopanandana, a young cowherd boy from Sri Govardhan Hill. Goloka stands above all other spiritual planets because it is superior in every way. The Brahma Samhita 543 states, Goloka namni nijadamni tale chatasya devi mahasya haradam shiteshu te prabhava nichaya vihitascha yena govindamadi. Lowest of all lies Devi Dam, the mundane world. Next above it is Mahesh Dam, abode of Mahesh. Above Mahesh Dam is Hari Dam, the abode of Hari. And above them all is Krishna's own realm, named Goloka. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who has allotted their respective authorities to the rulers of those graded realms, the 8 coverings of the universe over which Durga presides, and the abode of Lord Shiva and the Vaikuntha kingdom of Lord Hari all stand below Goloka. Text 79. That same Goloka takes the form of the divine Rajbhumi of the district of Mathura, and the city of Mathura is also there, unable to stay apart from her own essence, Vrindavan and the other forests of Rajbhumi. Commentary. According to this statement, Mathura is not separate from Rajbhumi like Ayodhya and other abodes of the Lord. One might ask, although the district of Mathura is non-different from Sri Goloka, what about the city of Mathura? Mathura city is Devi in the sense that she is effulgent and splendid, and she is included in Goloka. Even though Mathura has her own distinct identity, she cannot bear to be apart from the forests of Rajbhumi. According to the spiritual geography of Goloka, the Mathura district includes Vrindavan and other Vraj forests, which are the most essential parts of Mathura.
Okay. I mean, I wasn't clear on that for some time, but I hope that Mathura is the name of the place, and Mathura is also named given to the greater space in which Vrindavan is included, and the forest there as well. Okay, so it's included within Mathura, but Mathura you have the city, and then you have the greater Mathura, which includes Vrindavan. Okay, just in case. I guess most of you are aware of that, but just thought I'd make that point because I wasn't, and a bit more clear on it now. Okay, can continue text 80.
Text 80. Because the entire region of Sri Mathura is a land of cows, it is called Goloka. Though a confidential place, it is famous everywhere. Commentary. The transcendental abode that includes the city of Ayodhya is also called Ayodhya. Why then is the abode that includes the city of Mathura called Goloka rather than Mathura? The answer is that the entire Mathura district with its city, towns, and forests is full of cows. Furthermore, the Goloka of the spiritual world is famous by that name. The intimate pastimes of the personality of Godhead are a well-kept secret, but the name Goloka is known everywhere. Lord Indra, for example, refers to Goloka by name in his prayers to Sri Krishna in the Harivamsa. So there is no reason to doubt the glories of Goloka on the grounds that it is an obscure, unknown place. 81. That abode can be reached only through the purest sentiments, in which one follows the sublime love held for Krishna by the residents of Braj. Commentary. Goloka can be reached only by prema, free of fault, untouched by gyan, karma, or any other material endeavor, and concentrated on the son of Nanda Maharaj. And to learn this kind of prema, one must carefully study the examples of Vrajvasis like Sri Nanda and Yashoda, and especially the ideal example of Sri Radha and her companions.
Okay, so we mentioned a few times, but this is known as, if one Raganuga Sadhan, okay? That's being mentioned here. That abode can be reached only through the purest sentiments in which one follows the sublime love held for Krishna by the residents of Vraj. That's also known as Raganuga Sadhana. Okay? Hare Krishna. All right. You can continue.
Yeah, because the entire region of sorry, one can never achieve such pure.
Sorry.
No, we did that. Yeah.
1 second. So I'm moving. Yeah, so go to 82. Okay.
Yeah. One can never achieve such pure love for the personality of Godhead by concentrating on his supreme power, because in that mood one invariably feels fear and reverence. Text 83. One achieves that love only by thinking of the Lord as one's ordinary dear friend. That love is higher than found in the material worlds and the outer coverings of the universe, and higher than in the spiritual kingdom beyond. Commentary. Only by considering Krishna one's lifelong friend in one of the spiritual relationships can a devotee rise to the level of pure love known only in Vraj. This Vraj Prema is not an inferior version of love of God. It is not love in the mode of worldly affection. It is in fact superior to any feeling known in Loka, the 14 worlds of the material universe. Aloka, the elemental coverings of the universe, or Atiloka, the Vaikuntha planets beyond those coverings. Raj Prema is the essential nature of the highest of all worlds. The Lord, who is its object, is supreme, and the sweetness it embodies is also supreme.
All right.
Text
So this is, yeah. So this is what Lord Chaitanya has came to give, and this is what the Goswamis and Prabhupada have all written about. And this now is describing how to go back to Goloka. Okay.
Yeah.
You have to develop similar sentiments that the residents of Raj have. Yeah.
Yeah. Text 84. Although that reciprocal affection seems to follow the ways of the ordinary world, it is beyond the world. It combines intimate sweetness, amazing opulence, and worldly simplicity. Commentary. Goloka's, what did that say? Goloka's Lord and its residents care for one another, I guess.
Yeah.
One another, as do people of the material world, yet their prema transcends the limits of mundane love. The loving dealings of Raj are like nothing ever seen in this world. When Mother Yashoda simply remembers Krishna, milk flows from her breasts, and Nanda Maharaj is constantly drenched in a flood of his own tears of love for Krishna. The cowherd men use everything they have, even their wives and children, only for Krishna's pleasure, never their own. And some of the old ladies of Raj adopt the mood of Yashoda, while others disguise themselves as their own young daughters to please Krishna. Krishna's friends are constantly desirous of seeing him, so much so that they cannot tolerate even the momentary obstruction caused by Krishna's passing behind a tree. And the blessed cowherd girls have no interest in life other than him. Whether separated from him or going out to meet him or enjoying his company, they relish all sorts of extraordinary ecstasy. In these ways, the prema of Raj is both amazing and sweet, combining within itself the majestic opulence of the spiritual world and the simple sweetness of the material world. The devotees of Raj possess superworldly opulence, and at the same time, they are the most simple people. By their opulent power, they are expertly able to understand and take part in all the various aspects of the Lord's countless pastimes. And like ordinary people, the Vrajvasis, it is well known from the accounts of their lives, enjoy food and drink, the company of friends and relatives, and so on. And even the personality of Godhead, though showing his opulence, shows it in the pastimes of an ordinary child. During his infant pastimes, for example, Krishna drank milk from the breast of Putana and sucked out the life air from that powerful witch, who had never suspected he could do so. And in countless other ways also, the Lord, though showing his opulence, acted like an ordinary human being. As the narration of Brhat Bhagavatamrta continues, this will all be thoroughly explained. With such ideas in mind, Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, in this way, the Supreme Lord, whose lotus feet are personally attended by the goddess of fortune, concealed his transcendental opulences by his internal potency and acted like the son of a cowherd. Yet even while enjoying like a village boy in the company of other village residents, he often exhibited feats only God could perform. Bhagavatam 10, 15, 19. The word vidambayan in this 10th canto verse is a form of the verb vidam, to imitate, as a present participle, imitating. This participle form, however, can also sometimes mean for the purpose of, as it does here, for the purpose of imitating. Thus, the verse can be construed to say that Krishna hides his supremacy, Nigudatma Gati, by his own special potency, Swamayaya, for the purpose of imitating or assuming the nature of a cowherd boy, Gopatma Jadvam. He hides his godly powers, Atmagati, so that he can act like an ordinary human, but his absolute power is still discernible in the extreme limit of his perfect sweetness he displays in each of his pastimes. He enjoys having his feet massaged by the supreme goddess of fortune, and he does things only God can do, Isha Chestita, and yet he plays like an ordinary village boy, Kramyavat, in the company of other villagers.
It's a nice commentary, isn't it? Nice explanation. So Goloka is what's being explained here is Goloka is simple. What is it described? It's a simple setting, as in compared to all the different realms that we have heard of up to now. You know, each of them that Gobekama has gone to is filled with great opulence and grandeur. You know, great opulence and unlimited opulence and grandeur and majesty and reverence. You know. Now, this is the highest abode which is being described here, but it's manifest in a different way. It's manifest in a pastoral setting, and it doesn't mean, like, for instance, the residents of Raj, they are the most here. The devotees of Raj possess super worldly opulences, and at the same time, they are the most simple people. So they are the most advanced, they are the most knowledgeable. They are the perfected human beings, but their love for Krishna, this perfection, it manifests where they're simple village people. I think we've come across this before, where the cowherd girls, for example, they're all very expert at different arts, more than anywhere in the whole of creation. But for all intents and purposes, they're simple cowherd girls. Yeah. They're simple cowherd girls, and because they don't live in a palace, or they don't live in a city like you could say Hastinapura or even Mathura, they live in the they live in the pastures. But the point I'm making here is that highest potency is manifest in the amazing sweet pastimes of Vrindavan. Yeah. That's the highest place, or therefore it has the most opulent. But its opulence is manifest in a different way. I'm just kind of trying to echo what's being described here in this commentary. So for someone who's not in knowledge of this, you may think that, you may think, like, materially speaking, you may go to or someone may see Vaikuntha and think it's a much better place than Goloka. It's got massive big palaces, got big marble this and marble that, and everything's so grandeur, and there's airplanes, and there's hundreds of millions, there's thousands of devotees singing prayers to Lord of Vaikuntha. And then you go to this place which is just a village. There's cows and there's a stream, and there's no marble. Well, there's probably marble, but there isn't anything like the setting that's in Vaikuntha.
But it is so nice to be like, I don't know, Raj Kishore remembers, but olden days.
Oh, yeah.
It's so villages, the cow in front of the houses, and there's cows there and cow patches, and going on a bullock cart to the farm. And isn't that nice, Raj Kishore?
Yes, it was lovely. And I spent 3 months now. This year, 3 months I was in the village.
Doing it. Yeah. So this is interesting because I mean, myself also, when I go to India, that's one of the things I love about India is the pastoral setting and the village setting. So it seems we do have most people, I guess devotees are in a mode of goodness, so they're going to be attracted to this pastoral setting. But persons in a mode of passion, they find it too boring.
Most people get up about 5 o'clock because the cows need to be milked. And they have to go to the farm to collect this and the. Everybody gets up 5 o'clock. It's the thing. 5 o'clock in the morning, the village is missing. People are going with the cow dung stuff on their head to the end of the village and all that. Yeah.
So
they're singing. Nobody sings film songs. They are singing all the Gujarati Ranchorai songs.
Yeah. So it doesn't take much, perhaps, to superimpose that in them. I mean, that's the setting of the spiritual world. That's the setting of Goloka. But even more, a lot more, I guess, because Krishna is saturated. It's saturated with an atmosphere of loving affection for Krishna. So that's the difference between, you might have a village in India. It's just sattvic, you know. But I guess they're devotees, no doubt, of course. But in Goloka, it's pastoral setting. It's not sattvic. It's a modern sattvic. It's a pseudo sattvic. And there's an amazing atmosphere of loving affection. Everyone, they are all pure, unadulterated devotees of Krishna. So there are some differences, I might guess, between the village, but at least we can get some idea of the setting. Yeah. Anyway, I think we should.
Life, the peaceful, simple life. It's so nice.
Yeah. Anyway, you're quite welcome to sell your flat and go there. Trade your flat in for a mud hut.
And now it's not like that, probably there as well. Now it's not like that there.
Trade it in. I've had enough of this. I'm going to sell my flat. I'm going to buy a little hut in a village. That would be difficult because we're so conditioned, you know. It's unfortunate. We're kind of very much conditioned to this city way of life or the town way of life. So sometimes it's difficult to make that adjustment. You know, it's a whole subject. But all right. So let's pause here on this very wonderful commentary by Sanatana Goswami. And it seems like we're entering into Goloka now. And we're hearing descriptions of Goloka with comparisons to Dwarka, etc., and Vaikuntha. So very wonderful. All right. So thank you everyone for joining us. Hare Krishna, 8 devotees with us. Thank you. Very nice. And
thank you very much, Prabhu. I just want to say, sorry, one second. During the lockdown, Niranjana Swami also was reading this.
He was reading this, yeah?
Yeah, and I wanted lockdown never ends. I was so happy because every day it's so amazing. And thank you so much, Prabhu, for reading. You know, it's
no problem. Thank
you. I miss it, you know. I'm sorry,
I
miss it, but I have this is something special. This book is I miss it. Yeah. I miss this readings.
Yeah. Niranjana Swami Maharaj, he has so much attachment to Brhat Bhagavatamrta. I think he's read it many times.
Yeah.
He really has deep affection for this. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone. And please join us for next week's Krishna Katha. Hare Krishna. Gaura Premanandi. Hare Bo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare.